So I understand we're in the Volksbringer, and I'd like to thank the Volksbringer for again for letting us use that space. It's a quite important place here in Berlin. Okay, so let me get my notes and we'll begin. We have about 20 minutes, is that right? We're running a little overtime. Huh?
Yeah.
So I'll try and cut it to 15 so we have time for questions. Over the last 10 years, Wikileaks has released 10 million documents comprising of 10 billion words. And why numbers are not everything, they're a start. That's information that never would have existed in the world had we not released it. It would have been stored away somewhere privately, but it wouldn't have become part of our collective civilizational knowledge. And it corresponds to approximately 3,000 documents a day on average. That's a hell of a lot of work. That's why we don't release every single day. We do things at scale in order to, say, release 100,000 documents at once. But it does pan out to about 3,000 documents per day. Now, why do this at all? I'm in a position where I've been detained without charge here in the UK, in one form or another, prison, house arrest, the last 4 years in the embassy. As a result of this work, some of our sources, or alleged sources, have suffered terrible consequences in the United States. Actually, not many. We have thousands, and there's only a couple of alleged sources that are facing difficulty, but altogether, between sources and supporters, people have been sentenced to something like 50 years altogether. And the two most significant cases is that of Chelsea Manning in the United States, sentenced to 35 years in prison, purely for communicating with the media. That's the allegation. There's no other allegation against them. The United Nations found that they had been tortured by the USA, subject to cruel and inhumane treatment akin to torture. Jeremy Hammond, imprisoned in New York for 10 years. And a number of supporters back in the heat of the kind of first phase of neo-McCarthyist hysteria in the United States in 2010, 2011, went through a legal process as well. Most of them got off without any imprisonment. But, okay, what does it teach you? Well, it teaches you something about the structure of power. Whenever WikiLeaks engages in a release, sure, the information that we reveal about an institution or about a state is interesting. But also the reactions by that institution or state are extremely revealing. And the reactions by tertiary players, such as particular media groups and their alignment, allied institutions and so on. I mean, this in some ways harkens back to the old statement of Voltaire that if you want to understand structure of power, you should see who it is that you have difficulty writing about. Well, myself, my staff, and our sources, we believe in some kind of romantic ideal. It's quite a quaint notion. It's quite a uncynical notion. It's quite a notion, in fact, that perhaps in some ways doesn't belong to this time. It belongs to an older time, or perhaps a future time, which is that through understanding the world, we can do something sane. We can do something rational. It's not something of coming out of a postmodernist view of extremely bounded rationality where everything is kind of pointing. No, we actually think it's fascinating to understand the world around us, and through this understanding, we can see justice come from it, as we have in many cases, some of which Sarah had pointed out. In fact, you can break down this quest for knowledge and understanding into really the three types of history. By history, journalists will understand that I don't mean what happened 100 years ago, or not only what happened 100 years ago, I mean history circa now, the history that is unfolding all around us. What are the three types? So type one is the history which is subsidized, where there is economic interest in propelling it and promoting it. That, of course, includes all kinds of advertising and propaganda, but it also includes very basic things, such as how to hammer in particular types of nails, how to build a pump, how to fly an airplane. Extremely important information, but one that has an existing industry propelling it forth into the world. Type two history. And this is unsubsidized history. History which has lost its economic subsidy. Knowledge which is no longer propelled in the world, but sits there and perhaps slowly decays. That's important to try, in some cases, to revive that knowledge, but generally speaking, it's not kept around because people don't find it interesting enough to keep around. And then